Welcome to Answers with Ashley. Today I will be interviewing Kim Lohman, an early 20-something recent graduate. Welcome to the show today, Kim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I have a few questions I'd like to hear some more about if you're open to answering whatever comes your way.
Bring them on.
All right. First, I would like to ask, how does a normal weekday work for you?
Well,
And
a
what does it
normal
look like?
weekday, so typically I get up around 5:30. I'll usually hit the snooze button until around 6. And then I'll get up, go to work, stop and get a coffee on the way. Pumpkin, since it's fall, of course.
Of course.
And I've got to do it. And then typically I go to work from about 7:30, 8 o'clock. I get off at 5:30. Then I typically come home, make dinner, go to the gym, and just hang out with my dog.
That brings me to my next question. Where is it that you work?
So I actually work for Robert Half. I sit on our office team division, so I actually am in the staffing industry. I do temporary and temp to hire staffing for administrative and clerical positions.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
How did you get that current job?
Well, it actually just kind of landed into it. When I first graduated from school, I had got my degree in communications with a minor in marketing. I actually was applying to kind of get my foot in the door as a temp, actually. And when I was brought in to be interviewed, my now division director, Jamie, was like, hey, have you ever considered working internally in staffing? And to be honest, I had no idea what that even entailed. We didn't really hear about it as an option much in college, so I kind of fell into it, and I absolutely love it.
Great. And is this the occupation or career field you originally thought you would have when first entering college? And if it was, how has that changed?
That's such a good question because it absolutely was not. So all through high school, when I was younger, I worked at daycares. I always planned on being a teacher. So when I went to college, I had originally declared an elementary education major. 2 years in, actually, right before I ended up having to go into my program, I decided, you know what, this isn't for me. Totally did a 180, so took kind of double the course load, made up the time, and I kind of landed in marketing.
That's great. People say sometimes it's just the timing.
You do, and I had radiology in between, so I went from teaching to wanting to do x-rays and radiology and to marketing, so I was all over the place, but I feel like I landed where I was supposed to, so it worked out.
So how exactly did you figure out what you wanted to do with your life?
Well, basically, I just kind of felt like I knew what I liked to do. I took certain attributes and certain things that interested me, and I just did a lot of research, looked in on hot industry jobs, and I felt like marketing's really where my skill set was. I consider myself a people person.
Most definitely.
I like being around people. I like kind of helping, doing a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff as well. So I just kind of connected the dots, and that's where I landed.
That's great. Now that you have graduated and you're in a current everyday, Monday through Friday job, what advice could you give to those of us that may still be in college?
First off, I would say take more naps. But definitely I would say take the time to explore your options. Don't necessarily just fall in love with the first thing you do. Obviously take school seriously, but I feel like this is really a time to explore yourself and find out what you want to do with your life. So definitely take the time to find out what really speaks to you and where you see yourself going with your life, because there's so many options and so many doors.
There really are. So how exactly did you come across to just what made you want to explore certain options?
Well, I just kind of feel like teaching is a job that you can't really do half-heartedly, and I realized that I don't think my passion was in it as much as I had envisioned, which I feel like some education majors come in the fork, and some either say the same thing or some are totally gung-ho, both feet forward, but I kind of realized, you know what, this isn't for me. I don't really see myself doing it for the rest of my life, so, you know, I'd always been interested in the medical field. I'm really squeamish. I'm a baby. I did not think nursing was going to work. I can't even watch someone get a needle, let alone give one. So radiology seemed like a good path at first, and I just, you know, I took a first couple classes, did a semester or two, and I was like, you know what, I'm not digging this either, so at that point I was like, oh my goodness, I changed my major twice, which, by the way, is totally common for college students. Talk to anyone, I'm sure they'll tell you they've done it at least once.
Some people change their majors anywhere between like 2 and 5 times through a semester even.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So then I just kind of decided, you know what, these aspects are what I do like, this is what I don't like, and I was kind of able to sift through. I'm going to be honest with you, I got myself a course catalog of all the descriptions of the majors. I kind of flipped through, I said, well, this I don't like, this I do like, and I was able to sift through it and really see, you know what, I think this is going to be a good fit. You can do a lot with it. Like I said, I had no idea staffing even was a thing when I was in college, but, I mean, that's kind of where I landed, and I really like it so far. So.
Well, that's great. What is it that you value most important in your life?
So obviously I consider my family most important. My immediate family, my dog is very important to me. I am indeed a crazy dog lady.
And what kind of dog do you have, and what is her name?
So I actually have a Maltipoo. So for those of you who are not familiar, it is half Maltese, half poodle. So she's hypoallergenic and not shedding for any of those with allergies watching at home.
That is a great thing these days,
Isn't
I do
it?
have to say.
Everyone's got an allergy nowadays. And her name is Bailey. So she's my nugget. And then I spend a lot of time with my family, boyfriend on the weekends, just do normal things. A little bit of shopping.
That brings me to another question. So you are currently in a relationship.
I am indeed.
And how long have you been in that relationship?
It's going to be 3 years in a couple weeks, which is hard to believe. Time flies.
Yeah, I would say. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, wow. I definitely see myself married, a little white picket fence house, maybe a kid, who knows, definitely established in my career, just kind of holding it down.
Gotcha. What area do you see yourself living in?
Well, I do like Maryland. Annapolis is my favorite city, so I would love to land in Annapolis. Gotten a little bit of comments on the peanut gallery who would like to head down to the Carolinas, maybe North Carolina, South Carolina, so we'll see who wins that battle, but I think honestly anywhere by water we would be happy.
We all know I'm a little partial to that. I do love the Carolinas.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. In your relationship, what's a typical conflict that you and your partner may encounter?
Honestly, I feel pretty silly and pretty blessed at the same time to say the biggest fight we encounter is where to eat dinner, typically.
Really?
Yes.
And how do you normally resolve that conflict? Who usually picks?
A lot of rock, paper, scissors. A lot of compromise. A lot of, if you take me to get grilled cheese tonight, we can go get maybe some salads or steaks or real dinner tomorrow. So also time kind of depends on it, where we are in the area, what's nearby, but definitely I'm a good fan of rock, paper, scissors.
Gotcha. So it's not normally you choosing where you want to go all the time and him just saying, okay, I'll go along.
No, we're pretty 50-50, so he gets his way too. He's
well,
spoiled.
good. That's great. And how's your significant other similar and different from you?
So I would definitely say that I'm a little bit more type A. I'm a little bit more outgoing. He's a little bit more laid back. He's similar to me in the sense we both have very common interests. We both like sports. We both like shopping. We like going to the movies, just doing kind of normal couple date night kind of things. Definitely have similar values. He's very family oriented, has a lot of goals as far as his career goes, so we certainly have a lot of alignments on that area as well.
I think values are very important to have
Exactly.
with one another, but I think it's also great to have slight differences so you're not butting heads all the time.
No, we definitely have little differences and little quirks, but after a couple years you get used to them and you kind of just learn how to go with the flow. So
most definitely. Now, if you could do anything in the world without any limitations, what would that be?
Oh my goodness, that's a toughie. I feel like if I could do anything in the world,
no limitations whatsoever,
I would definitely want to do something where I could make a difference. I definitely would get involved with charity, maybe create my own to help put a little dent in hunger or do something good for the world. I just feel like I definitely would want to put some of my passion forward and put it to good use type deal.
Do you see yourself maybe volunteering in the future in those types of departments with the hunger or, in the inner city that need those resources for food donations?
Absolutely. So actually we do at my church every Christmas, we do a charity called Operation Christmas Child, where basically they provide you with a small box. It's about the size of a shoebox, and it's for children in third world countries who really not only don't typically have things like a Christmas, but they don't have necessary everyday essentials. So the theory is that you go to a store like Five Below, the dollar store, you get little fun things like socks and little mittens, but also some fun little toys and like crayons and pencils. So I love doing that. It's very near and dear to my heart. Typically at work, instead of doing like a Chinese exchange or any kind of white elephant gift, we will adopt a family from like inner city through a company down there. They'll give us a name, kind of what they're looking for on the list. So we'll do some of that, and that's always some of my favorite parts of the holidays.
That's great. That really is. I wish more people could get out there and do those kind of things, especially around the holidays when, you know, some people are just less fortunate than people as you or I, or even some of our viewers.
I completely agree, and I honestly think, certainly not to preach about it by any means, but if you know, I understand everyone's time constrained, but there's certainly programs out there that don't really require much time, so certainly I encourage everyone to just go on Google, see what's in your area that even would take a couple hours of your time, because it definitely feels good, and it certainly makes a difference.
Okay, I have one last question.
Yeah.
I know our time is running short, but do you have any regrets towards your past or anything you would do different?
You know what? It's funny, and I really don't want to sound cliche, but I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, so I really feel like every kind of wrong turn that I've had to make a U-turn led me where I am today, so probably could have finished school in a little bit quicker, probably, you know, didn't need to necessarily make a couple purchases, or, you know, a couple friends I learned the hard way weren't so great people, but, you know, I really feel like it brings you where you are today and ultimately makes you a stronger person and kind of builds character and just keeps your head grounded and makes you feel like what's really important in life you appreciate, like your family, those friends that are there, and just those ultimate core values.
That is a very true statement, and I'm sure many of us can all feel the same way.
Absolutely.
I would definitely thank you for taking the time to come on Answers with Ashley today. I hope to see you in the future, maybe for a different kind of interview. And
absolutely. Thank you for having me. Maybe next time you see me, I'll be on Miss America doing my pageant wave.
I don't know about all that, folks, but we'll end it on that note. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. Take care.